We continue now at the top of Daf Nun Aleph Amid Aleph and Meseches Bava Basra. This is Bava Basra Daf 51a. On the previous summit, Rav said that you're not allowed to make a chazaka in the property of a married woman. The idea is that the woman, the wife, is not expected to protest because she thinks her husband is going to protest on her behalf, and that's why the chazaka is not going to be good. And the Gemara here continues, V'dayone Gola, and the judges of the exile, Amru, they say, Machzikin, that you actually could make a chazaka in the property of a married woman, and she is expected to protest. And the Gemara continues, Amar Rav says, Halacha kedayone Gola, the halacha is like the judges of the exile. That's the exact opposite of what Rav said before. Rav said before, Ein machzikin, you can't make a chazak in the property of the Eshes Ish. The Dayane Gola argue with Rav, and now Rav is saying that halach is like them. Amru le Rav Kahana v'Ravasi l'Rav. So Rav Kahana and Ravasi, they said to Rav, Hader bei mar mishmaite, did the master retract his original teaching? Amar lahu, he said to them, Mistabra amri kid Rav Yosef. It makes sense to say that they were saying in accordance with Rav Yosef on the previous summit. Meaning we did say on the previous summit that there are certain circumstances where you can make a chazaka b'nechsei Eshes Ish, and those circumstances are, let's say the husband, he dies, and then the person is on the property 3 years while the married woman is no longer married. Now she's a widow. At that point in time, in those 3 years, she is expected to protest because she's no longer married. She can't expect her husband to protest for her because he died, he passed away, and so therefore in that situation you could make a chazaka on nechsei Eshes Ish, and that's what he meant to say. The halach is like the Dayone Gola. And the Rashbam explains, V'Dayone Gola, that refers to Shmuel v'Karna. Shmuel and Karna are the judges of the exile. That's mentioned by Parak Rishon, the Sanhedrin, in the first parak of Sanhedrin. Machzikin, they say you can make a chazak of Hayal Limchos. She did have a responsibility to protest. And then Rav clarified, Mistabra Amri, Heicha having mixes chazaka b'chai bala. That statement was made in a situation where part of the chazaka was during the lifetime of her husband. V'shalosh lachar misas habal. And then there were 3 years of the chazaka after the husband had died. Kimo sheperish Rav Yosef le'el, just like Rav Yosef explained earlier on the previous summit. Hasam hu de mistabra de machzikin. It's in that case over there where it makes sense to say machzikin, that you can make a chazaka. To harav gufei hachikam le. That's what Rav himself said earlier. Eshes ish tzricha limchos, that the married woman, she does need to protest. There are certain cases where, certain circumstances where she is responsible to protest. The mashma de machzikin, that sounds like there could be a chazaka. Umiu dayane gola b'chol inyan and pligi ad Rav. Now the Rashbam says, really the dayane gola, they really do argue on Rav, meaning to say, they say all the time you can make a chazaka in the property of a married woman, and Rav is saying it makes sense to say like them in certain circumstances. And the Gemara continues at the 2 dots. The Mishnah said, "V'lo leisha b'nechsei bala v'chulu." A wife is not able to make a chazaka in the property of her husband. And the Gemara says, "Pshita, well, isn't that obvious? Kevan the Islam mizone, since she's entitled to mizonos, she gets support, she gets food from her husband. Mizone hu deka'achla, if she's taking the produce from the field, that's really just the mizonos that she's entitled to. That doesn't establish any proof of her ownership. So of course she can't make a chazaka." And the Gemara says, "Lo no tzricha, it's necessary. The yichud lo aron." The Mishnah could be talking about a case where he designates a particular piece of land, ara achrisi lemizona, he designates a different piece of land for her food, for her support, and now she's going to the second field, one that is not designated for her mizonos. In that kind of field already, you might say she can establish a chazaka, because that's not the field she's supposed to be getting the mizonos from, and that's what the Mishnah is saying. Even from that second field, she cannot establish a chazaka. But the Gemara continues, haraya yesh, but it seems like if she brings evidence that he sold her the field, then she would be able to bring that evidence, and we would say that indeed the husband sold her that field. But why is that the case? Lema, let him be able to say, he should respond, Legaluye zuzehu deboy, that I wasn't serious about the sale. I didn't really want to sell you the field. I was just selling you the field because I wanted to reveal if you had any money that I didn't know about. By selling you this field, then you say, oh, here's the money, I'm going to buy the field. It's obvious that you have money that you were concealing. So he should be able to claim that the sale was not a serious sale. And the Gemara says, Shamat mina, should we learn from this, Hamocher sadeh liishto kansa, that if a person sells a field to his wife, that she does acquire it. Velo amrinon legaluye zuzehu deboy. We don't say that he's just doing it to reveal if she has any hidden money. And the Gemara says, lo no, ema, what we could say is as follows. Haraya yesh b'shtar matana. She could bring evidence if she has a shtar matana, meaning if she can produce a document that says that he gifted her the field, so then that would be good evidence, and we would say that it's her field. In a situation of a gift, he's obviously not trying to reveal any hidden money that she might have. But it could be that if there was a document of sale, or if he tried to sell her the field, that would not be a good sale, because there we would say he's just doing it to reveal if she has any hidden money. And the Rashbam explains the yichud law could be the Mishnah is talking where he designates a different field for her mizonos, and now she's trying to make a chazaka on another field, one that wasn't designated for her mizonos, and that chazaka will not be good. Baal karko achrisi lemizonos, he designated a different field for her mizonos, and still she cannot make a chazaka on another field. Va'afilu hachi lo kapid bali achlet fei. The idea is, nevertheless, the husband is not strict if she eats more than the required mizonos. Vehilkach les la chazaka. That's why she's not able to make a chazaka. And the Gemara continues, Amarle Rav Nachman Rav Huna. Rav Nachman said to Rav Huna, Lo hava marga bon be'ursa b'tchuma. The master was not by us in the evening by the tchum. The Beis Medrash was at the end of the tchum. You weren't in the Beis Medrash with us. Ta'amrinon mili mal yasa. We said some superior things in terms of halacha. Amarle said to him, My mili mal yasa. What were these good things that were said? Amrisu, he said that we said, Hamocher sada li'ishto kansa. If a person sells a field to his wife, she does acquire the field. V'lo amrinon legaluye zuzehu deboy. And we don't say that he was just doing it to reveal if she had any hidden money. We don't say that. We say instead that it is a good kinyan. Amar Lei said to him, Shita, well, that's obvious. It doesn't even need to be said. Dal zuzeh mehacha, just remove the money from here. V'tikni b'shtara, just the shtar alone should be able to create the kinyan, meaning to say, if you have a situation where she's giving money and there's also a shtar, what do you need the shtar for? Obviously, the intention is that even without the money, the shtar alone should be able to create the kinyan. So, of course, she's going to be kona if she receives the shtar. Milo Tanan, didn't we learn in the Mishnah? Nechasim sheyesh lem achrayis, if you have property where there's a lien on it, which essentially means if you have property that is land that's being sold, how do you acquire land? Niknan bekesef uv'shtar v'chazaka. The way land is acquired is through money, through shtar, or through chazaka, through kinyan chazaka. And so you see that shtar can acquire, and so therefore it's obvious that the wife would acquire in this situation. But the Gemara continues, Amar Le, he said back to him, V'lav itmar Allah, but wasn't it said on that Mishnah, Amar Shmuel, that Shmuel said, Lo shanu ela b'shtar matana. When we say that a shtar can acquire land, that's only true by a shtar where the land is being given as a gift, by a shtar matana. Aval b'shtar mecher, but if you write up a shtar for a document of sale, the shtar is a document of sale, Lo kona achita and lo domeh, so there you're not going to be kona until he actually gives him the value, until he gives him the money. When you have a sale, the document does not create the kinyan, it's actually the money that creates the kinyan. And so therefore it's not true what you're saying. The idea that she should acquire based on the fact that there's a shtar, the shtar is irrelevant in the case of a sale, because there we're following the money. The money is creating the kinyan. But the Gemara continues, is that really true? V'lav Mosef Rav Hamnuna, but didn't Rav Hamnuna ask from a brisa? It says bishtar kates, that how do you acquire land with a shtar? Kasav lo al haniyoro al acheres, if he writes on a piece of paper or on a piece of cheres, a piece of earth, piece of clay, afal pisha ein bo shava pruta, even if it's not worth a pruta. If he writes the following, sadai mechura lach, sadai kanuya lach, harez mechura nesun, if he writes, I'm selling my field to you, I'm giving my field over to you, so then it's sold. So you see over here that a shtar can create a kinyan even in a case of a sale. It's not true that the shtar only creates the kinyan by matana. A shtar creates a kinyan by a case of a sale as well. But the Gemara says, well, that's not a proof. V'lav hu mosif v'lav hu mafarikla. When Rav Hamnuna, he's the one that asked the question, but didn't he also answer the question? He said that brisa which says that a shtar works in a case of a sale, that's only in a very specific situation. That's b'mocher sadeu mipnei ra'asa. That's only in a situation where the field is being sold because it's an inferior kind of field. So over there already we say the person just wants to get rid of it as fast as possible. But otherwise we wouldn't say that. And so therefore, again, that's in a very limited case. But otherwise, we say that it's not true. The shtar does not create the kinyan in a case of a sale. It's the money that creates the kinyan in a case of a sale. And the Gemara continues with another answer to the brisa that Rav Hamnuna asked from. Again, the brisa seems to say that a shtar creates a kinyan on a field even in a case of a sale, which goes against what Shmuel said. For Rav Ashi says the way you explain that brisa is as follows: B'matana bikesh litna lo. Really, in that brisa, even though it says sadai mechuralach, the language of a sale, really he's giving him a gift. The case over here is the person wanted to give a gift to the recipient. V'lama kasav lo b'lashon mecher. Now, why did he write the document? He wrote it in the language as if it was a sale. If it's not really a sale, that's kedei liyafos kocho. That was to give him more strength in terms of receiving the gift. The idea is that the person giving the gift wants to also take responsibility. If it's taken away from you by any creditors, you're going to be reimbursed. And a way to strengthen that responsibility that he's taking is to write the document in the language of a sale as opposed to a gift, even though really it is a gift in line with what Shmuel said. And the Rashbam explains, again, Rav Nachman said to Rav Huna, you weren't with us by the Tchum, B'tchuma bate midrasha shalahen b'sof ha-tchum hayu. Their base medrashes, they were at the end of the Tchum, they were at the outskirts of the city, K'dei sheyuchlu lavo sham b'Shabbos min ha'yora shemisaviv. That way the people who were in the surrounding villages would also be able to come to the base medrash on Shabbos. Amar Lei said to him, Heicha di'ika shtar mechira, in a situation where there's also a document of sale besides the money, afila legaluye zuze mechaven, even if the husband did have intention to reveal some hidden money that she had, bekabolas hamos, by receiving this money, have a kinyan gomer, it's still going to be a good kinyan. The dal zuze mehacha, because you can forget about the money, just remove the money from here, betikni b'shtar mechira, and then she can acquire using the shtar mechira that she received. The gabe mos who the ikolamemar kabolas mos halalu lo likni de la galuye zuze neskavin. Regarding the money, you can say the receiving of that money didn't create the kinyan because he's just trying to reveal that she had that money. Uliasmo kiblim, he's just taking the money for himself. Aval gabe shtar mechira, but in terms of the document that's being given to her, the document of sale, lo shayach lamemar hachi, you can't say that. Ela hareo k'shtar matana, it's just like any shtar of matana, like a shtar of a gift. The hakol modin bod lekamon, everybody agrees later on in that case to konsa that she is going to acquire. Dema revach yesh lo b'chsiva shtar mechira. What does he gain by writing a shtar mechira? Ela vadai gomer v'yaknei, obviously he has full intention to give it over to her. V'halekol lamemar di lo kasav lo shtar lo have yoav azuzei. Now you can't say that if he wouldn't have written the shtar, she's never going to give the money. Ulegaluye azuzei in niskaven, and the whole point over here is just to reveal her money. Gam b'chsivas hashtar, also by writing the shtar, t'chol kach lo masek in a shadai. The person doesn't think that far ahead into the matter. The fact that he's writing a shtar shows that indeed he really does want to give it over to her, and therefore again it is obvious that she will acquire. But then the Gemara said, Milo Tanan, the Gemara said, didn't we learn in the Mishnah, initially the Gemara thinks that the Mishnah says a shtar is kona land, even shtar mechira is kona land. To kani, that creates a kinyan, below nesinas mos, you don't even need the money. To kaven the kasavalo shtar mechira, once the shtar mechira is written, and you can't retract on the sale, and the buyer is going to be chayiv to give money to the seller, but the kinyan is actually finished. The kinyan over the land is done. But then the Gemara said it's not true, because it was stated on that, the shtar matana ma'iri, that Mishnah is only talking about a shtar matana, a document of a gift. Aval shtar mecher lo kona, but a shtar mecher is not going to be kona, because there the kinyan is going to go through the money. V'yamar le Rav Huna le Rav Nachman, but then Rav Huna said to Rav Nachman, v'lav most of Rav Hamnuna l'Shmuel. Didn't Rav Hamnuna ask a question on Shmuel from a brisa? Al mashtar mecher nami kona. The brisa seems to say that by a shtar mecher also creates a kinyan. V'akati mai mili mal yasa. So again, what's the novel idea over here? It's so obvious that she acquires in this case if there's a shtar mechira. Harezu mechura onasuna. Again, it says in the brisa that's considered a sale. You see shtar mecher. V'yamar le Rav Nachman lav amrinan hasam beperak rishon de kiddushin. Rav Nachman then said to him, didn't we say over there in the first parak of kiddushin, the Rav Hamnuna mosif lavagam mefarakla? It's true. Rav Hamnuna asked a question on Shmuel from the brisa, but he also answered it, that the brisa where it says a shtar mecher creates a kinyan is in a very particular case. The hach brisa, the katani shtar mecher kona, when it says in this brisa that a shtar mecher is kona b'mocher sadeim neroa, so that's just a person selling a field because it's an inferior field. Karka roa, it's just a bad field. Devahi vadai gomro makna, in that case for sure he's certainly gomer umakna, he's certainly doing a kinyan. Gomer umakna miyad b'shtar, he's doing the kinyan right away with a shtar. Umos lahave milva, and in that particular case the money is just a loan. Gabi de lokech, by the lokech he's going to owe the money ad the tavale till he claims it from him. Aval b'shar karkos, but by other cases of land, if it's not inferior, lo kanu b'shtar, there a shtar is not going to create a kinyan in a case of a sale. Ad the yoev zuzei k'shmuel, unless money is given like Shmuel. Va'akati ika mili mal yasan. So therefore, since the shtar doesn't create a kinyan, it is still a novel idea. It's a superior ruling over here in halacha to say again that in this case by the wife, it is going to be considered to be a sale. And finally, the Rashbam continues, Hachi garsina b'Meseches Kiddushin. Here's the text that we have in Meseches Kiddushin with a similar Gemara. Rav Ashi Yomer b'matona bikesh litein lo. Rav Ashi is giving another answer for the brisa. V'yaskafta dehach brisa dehav kasha l'Shmuel. The question from this brisa, which was a question on Shmuel, Koi, that's what he's going on. Ubor Rav Ashi Lomer, Rav Ashi is coming to say, dehach brisa lo b'shtar mecher ayri klal. This brisa is not talking at all about a shtar mecher, about a document of sale. Ela b'shtar matona. It's talking about a gift. It's talking about a document for a gift. V'davar harogalu shekosvim b'shtar matona loshen mecher. It was a normal thing to write in a shtar matona as if it was a sale, to put in the language of a sale. Liapos kocho de mekabel, that strengthened the recipient. Matona shem yaru olav yavo hanosin lefatsoso kedid mocher. The idea is that if anyone should protest, try to take away this land from the recipient, then the person who gave it to him is going to try to appease him. He's going to try to pay him back, repair the situation, just like a seller would. He's going to try to reimburse him. That That way there's not going to be any complaints. So you phrase it as a sale to indicate that I'm going to reimburse you in case it gets taken away. That's what it's saying. It's sold to you and also given to you. Meaning it's sold in the sense that the nosen, the giver, is taking responsibility, just like a seller would. But it's also given to you. The reason why you'd want it to be given is now you don't have halacha bar mitzvah. There's a halacha that the neighbor has first rights to buy a property so that he can connect his property to this new property, but you don't say that by a gift. We say in Bava Mitzvah, matana les ba mishum dina de bar mitzvah. There's no halacha bar mitzvah by a gift. The idea really is in this brisa that you're giving over the land in a way with the strength of both. It has the strength of a sale and the strength of a gift. And the Gemara continues, Meisvei, we have a question from the following brisa and Rav Nachman. Again, Rav Nachman said that if a husband sells a field to his wife, the sale goes through, and we don't say that he's just trying to reveal any concealed money that she might have, and so we're asking from the following brisa. It says in the brisa, love him in eved v'shichro, if a person borrows from his own slave and then frees the slave, mino isha v'gersha, let's say he borrows from his wife and then divorces his wife, ein lahen olav klum, they have no claim against him. We don't say that was a serious loan at all. And the Gemara says, my time, and what's the reason? Lav misham damrinon, legaluye zuzeh hu deboy. Isn't it because we say the same logic? We say he's just trying to reveal the money that they're concealing from him, and so it should be the same thing by a sale. When he's selling a field to his wife, he's just trying to reveal the money that she might be hiding from him. We should not say it's a good sale. It's a question on Rav Nachman. And the Gemara says, no, Shani Hasam, it's different over there. In this brisa dealing with a loan, it's much more obvious that it's not serious. He doesn't want to make himself, like the pasuk says in Mishlei, a borrower is like a slave to the lender. So he doesn't actually want to borrow money from his wife, because then he would be a lova, he'd be a borrower, which is likened to a slave. It's obvious he's not serious. He's just trying to expose what money she has. And the Gemara continues, Shalach Rav Huna bar Avin. Rav Huna bar Avin sent the following. He sent the following message: Hamocher sadel ishto. If somebody sells a field to his wife, kansa, she does acquire the field. And we will continue with this discussion in the next video on Daf Nun Aleph Amud Beis.